I think you're. Good morning. What is going on, all you stylists from the break room? We are talking about mastering the art of consultation or mastering the art of client retention strategies. This is a topic that people ask about constantly, all the time. And it's important to talk about, it's important to discuss it because this is the time of the year right now with the holiday season, as busy as it is. This is the time to get yourself sorted and to figure it out. You do more business now in this month or in this season than you do the entire year combined. How you set yourself up right now is going to set you up for the rest of the year. If you do this correctly now during this holiday season, during the holiday rush, then you are guaranteed business consistently through the rest of the year. If you drop the ball right now, you are screwed for the rest of the year. And that's the harsh reality of it. That's the truth of it, okay? As far as client retention goes, it is not by accident or by mistake that you only see the clients who you see right now, and then you don't see them for the rest of the year. Like, there are certain clients you're like, man, I haven't seen this person for a while. All of a sudden she's on my book. Yeah, probably she couldn't get in with whoever she's been going to. Or probably she didn't feel like, you're basically the backup plan. You're the side
piece.
You're the side piece. And that's the unfortunate of it. If you're not retaining business, the only thing what happens is just that you become the side piece. So that's what we're talking about today, is not to be that.
There's a lot to unpack with what you just threw out there. And yes, this is the we always joke about the busy bus, but this is when the busy bus pulls up. And this is why you should be I'm not going to give it the right word, but this is why you should be then pre-booking these people that come in during the busy season, pre-booking them out that they need to come back, in February and March and January, and why you should. That's how you build your retention. That's how you build your business. It's not just, okay, what do you want today? You've got to build. Basically, I always ask, like, new clients, tell me your hair story. What's your story about your hair? Mm-hmm. And you got to be building that story with them to create that need for them to come back to you. So you're not the side piece anymore.
This is all we're going to be talking about today, is not being a side piece.
But that's what it is because, let me ask you a question. When a client sits in your chair, besides, hey, how are you? What's the first part? What's the first thing you do after they sit down? You do a consultation, right?
I never say, hi, how are you?
Okay.
I don't want to know. I learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson a long time ago. I say, hey, would you like a cup of something? Or, would you like a bottle of water? And they say yes or no. And then I say, all right, go to the bathroom real quick. Let me start getting you set up. I'll meet you at the chair. And like, oh, I don't got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, well then sit down. Let's start. Let's just go. And I sit them down, and then it's just straight to business. Eventually, while they're processing or while I'm applying the color, like after the service has started, Then I'll do the niceties of, hey, how are you? What's going on? What's good? Blah, blah, blah. I've learned my lesson because we on the clock. We got to go.
I like that. I like that theory. I may steal that from you, but the point being is you need to do a consultation with every client. It doesn't matter if she's been seeing you, it's her first time with you, or you've been seeing your client for 20 plus years. You always got to stay on, and we'll call it the hair story, their story of their hair. What are we doing with your hair? That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. I don't care about the Kardashians or anything like that. I want to talk about your hair. I want to get you moving in the right direction. And for me, that works. And I know for you, that works too. We're taking your hair and we're taking it on this journey and we're keeping it in optimum. This is why we use this product. This is why you and I use All Nutrient, because blah, 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 blah. And constantly reinforcing why we're doing what we're doing. I've heard you with models, go into that whole rigmarole with them about, well, we're doing this because this is going to be better for your hair, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing with our clients. Why are we doing what we're doing? And a lot of times, and this falls back into, as you become more experienced, you start looking down the road. Younger people, and I've seen it because we've worked with them about, oh, you want that picture? Sure, no problem. Okay, just pull the hand pin on the hand grenade and hold it. Okay. But I think that really, with the art of retention, like we're talking about, is creating that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is creating that need and that want to come back to this person who is taking me on this hair journey. Or do you feel differently about that?
No, and that's what we're going to break it down. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Because your quality of work only represents 10% of the overall experience of why somebody would come back. So just because you're good, let's just say you're amazing, it won't matter if you can't find the business side of it. I learned this a long time ago accidentally. I was at a sushi bar, and I would go to this sushi restaurant, this sushi bar. I love sushi, so I would go constantly. And every single time I'd walk in, the chefs behind the bar, behind the counter, I have no idea what they were saying. All it sounded to me was Yoshe or something. I don't know what they were saying. Okay. But it was awesome because every single time I'd walk in, I'm just ready for them to go, Yoshe! And then you sit down and you're just kind of sitting there waiting for the waitress to come over, right? Somebody else walks in. Every single person who walked in, the chefs behind the bar, all in unison, would say it. So it just became your first contact point of greeting, and the experience was set, the tone right then and there with energy. And then when somebody would be leaving, I don't know what they said when somebody would leave, but they would basically, with the same energy, say something. I mean, these dudes all day long are just sitting there, welcome and goodbye, welcome and goodbye. In essence, that's what they're doing. And after a while, if you're there for a while, you're like, okay, I but it becomes embedded in your mind that when you walk in, that expectation of that greeting, of that energy, of that tone, it psychologically does something to your brains. Okay. So I know every time I go to that bar, that restaurant, this is what I'm in for. It's the same thing when you walk into the salon. If you are a commissioned stylist, that front desk is vital to your experience. You need to be, and I know the front desk takes it hard. all day, every day. Okay. That front desk takes a freaking beating. They
Look,
take it from the clients, they take it from the owner, they take it from management, they take it from us stylists. We go up there every time something goes right or wrong. We're yelling at them. We're never even happy when something goes right. It's rough. But if you can flirt with your front desk and treat them good and make them happy, I'm telling you, that is the first contact point. Now, if you're solo and you don't have a front desk, when somebody walks in, if it's your own space, don't just say hi or look at them and nod at them and tell them to sit down. Include them. Okay. And if you work in a smaller salon where the front door is over there and you're over here, I mean, I'm not saying scream, but just kind of acknowledge that somebody walked in.
absolutely.
Tell them you'll be right with them for a second or something. I don't know. Something that I do at the salon that I'm at, we're in that situation. It's not it's a decent sized shop, but it's not big enough to have a front desk, and then we're all the way in the back of the place. No, but it's a decent sized shop. It's 8 stations. So when somebody walks in, you got to walk across the salon to get to me. They put me in the corner because,
Well, we know why. We know why.
But I flag them in. As soon as they walk in, I flag them in. I tell them to get over here. Don't just go sit, they're like, oh, I'll just sit and wait for you. Yeah, you can come sit, wait over here by me. Don't just be sitting all the way over there.
Right,
okay?
right.
And it's just that welcoming feeling, that initial thing is amazing. The fact that I tell them to go to the bathroom, or, my greeting is go to the bathroom, or do you want a cup of coffee or a hot cocoa or a tea, I don't know, a beer, a wine, or something, or do you just want a bottle of water? The fact that I'm being a gracious host immediately right off the bat, I am being my own concierge, my own valet. It matters because it makes somebody feel welcomed.
Welcome. Exactly.
And
exactly.
And unfortunately, not a lot of other places are doing that. It may seem like a nothingness, but that little bit is so huge in the grand scheme of things.
I agree.
You're I in agree. A smaller space than I am in comparison to how I am. How do you deal with it?
It's always come on in, and like sometimes I have there's a bench out in the hallway. I'll go sit. I'm like, no, come on in. We're hanging out, And I have a funny story about that. I had 2 clients come in, and I had one client. I had 2 clients here, and I had one client come in. She came in early, and she's like, "I'll go sit over here." I'm like, "No, come on, sit here. I'll put you in the comfy chair." So I sat her, and they started talking. I introduced them all to each other, and it's great because I'm small. It's very intimate. So my 2 clients started talking about they're both breast cancer survivors. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. That just, and it came up in their conversation with each other because one had the pink bow on her coat. Okay. And start talking blah, 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 blah. Funny story. This is really funny. So then they start talking about they're both had mastectomies and then reconstructions. Next thing I know, they're both lifting their shirts to show each other their scars. I had to leave. I'm like, let me know when you guys are done. And the client that walked in is dying. She's laughing and she's like, oh my God, this is great. I'm going to come hang out here every day. You guys are so funny, but it felt comfortable enough in my little space here to, just start sharing like that. That leads to client retention because they felt comfortable. They're coming back. And then my one client who started the whole thing, she goes, "Oh, when is another client of yours coming back? I want to start booking the same day she did."
Cool.
And now I guess they formed a friend. They become friends. But bottom line is you got to make it. Well, you're right. First step is you got to make people feel welcome and comfortable. And I that's great. I'm gonna steal that from you though. If I have a client that that's gonna be waiting a little bit, I'm like, hey, the bathroom is down the hall and to the right. I'm stealing that from you. I love that.
It's the first thing I tell them now because
but it's the perfect icebreaker. And I think that's fantastic, and that sets your event with this client up, where they feel comfortable and they can tell you, and you don't have to do that whole dance of what they want and what they say are two different things, because that's going to eliminate that barrier where they can just speak frankly to you. I like that. I like that idea a lot.
And then, like how you was mentioning that, now you're ready for that consult. And that consult is so vital. The kiss of death, the worst thing to say in a consultation is, what do you want? Or are we doing the same thing like last time? Some variation of that.
Nope.
You might as well just kiss that client goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta build a story. It's like you was mentioning their hair story. You gotta build their hair story. You gotta find out where they came from, how they got to where they're at, and more importantly, where do they want to end up? Where are they going with their hair? And what are they doing? What are they doing now with it? And how is that helping them get to where they're going with it? And how are you part of that journey? Because are you a passenger along for the ride, or are you the driver?
Right.
Or are you the navigation? If you're a passenger along for the ride, then they're just going to drop you off at some point when they pick up somebody else. If you're trying to be the driver of that story, it's going to be really stressful on you. And this is my opinion. You should be the navigation. You should be the GPS. You should let them be the driver of their own story so they can fulfill their own successes when they're getting to their milestones of where they want to be. And because you are their GPS, you're their North Star, they'll never get lost without you. Then it just, that's that bond that gets formed.
Right.
That's my take on it. That's my opinion on it. I don't know. How do you think you fall in the consultation? Like, where should a stylist position be in the consultation? Like, between being a passenger along for the ride of their journey,
okay.
Being the driver of the journey, or being their navigation.
No, I agree with you, and I agree that you need to be their navigator. Because it'll be too easy for them to get another driver. It's too easy to order an Uber. You know what I mean? You've got to be the person. You've got to be the professional that they turn to go, hey, I know we were going for this, but I really like this. I'm just using this as an example. I really like this look. What if we start transitioning to this look? And then professionally, you can go into and massage it and work it so it works for them for their hair. Okay. I agree. You got to be their navigator. You let them drive their car, but you navigate and you help them, and they'll turn to you if you build that level of trust. And it's being honest. You got to be honest with the clients. Some things are not possible. I just saw this video about this girl sitting in a stylist chair. It was kind of a spoof video where, she's like, yeah, I've been box coloring my hair for 3 years, but they say it's only 14 shampoos. And I want to be blonde, ashy blonde. And I've only got 2.5 hours. I've got to pick my kid up from school. And the stylist is like, oh, okay. How we've all been in that situation, right? And I'm just using that as an example. We've all, and I mean, we could spend an hour just on that consultation alone, but given the consultation, being honest with the client. Yeah, this is not going to happen in 2.5 hours if you've been box coloring your hair. And yeah, 17 shampoos or 24 shampoos or whatever it is, there's still color in your hair. We're going to, once again, different time for that to unpack that. But being honest with the client, telling them what the expectation is, and then meeting that expectation, if not exceeding it, if it's possible. If it's not possible, you have to drop back into that whole being honest. No, this is not going to happen today. And then what'll happen is, and I had this happen as a younger stylist. I turned down a service because the hair was compromised, and I turned the service down, and she got very upset with me. Actually, said some very not nice things to me, and toddled off. And she went somewhere else, and she was told, yeah, we can do this. Totally. 6 hours later, her hair was about this long now. And I saw her back in the salon because she got her hair cut by one of the stylists. And I saw her, and she goes, I am so sorry. You were right. I should have listened to you. And that meant all the world. That meant a lot to me for someone, first off, to own up to it. But second off, that there was enough communication between the two of us that she could actually say that to me.
Yeah.
And you stand behind your word. You stand behind your word. And then if you're exceeding expectations, if you exceed what you expect is going to happen, you take those wins, because you're going to have losses too.
So with expectations, this is kind of dangerous. This is something you've seen me do, and you've commented on this a lot. I make statements. I don't ask questions. I do ask some questions. I don't ask a lot of questions, but I make way more statements and see how the client reacts and responds than I do ask questions. Like I said, it could be very dangerous, because if you state something incorrectly, or if you don't have the perfect pitch or tone or body language to support whatever the statement that you're making, if it gets misconstrued, if it gets taken out of context or the wrong way, you in trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
To me, making statements is way more powerful than asking questions. Again, that's my opinion. Where do you stand on that? Like, what do you think of that?
I see what you're saying with that. I am the other end of the spectrum on that. I ask 1,000 questions. Because I firmly believe the dumbest question you can ask is the one you don't. And there's so much information that goes into working someone's hair story that any information I can garner is only going to help me in the long run. And especially, when you're dealing with major transformations and things like that, when you're really on a long, quote unquote hair journey. It's the more questions, the more information I can garner. I ask questions, but I've seen you make the statements, and it's great watching the responses and really the facial expressions, which in essence you're kind of doing what I do anyway. You're just being you're not being overt about the question. You make the statement to see how they respond, and then you put two and two together. I've watched you do this.
I do it a lot. And the reason why I do it is because when somebody shows me a picture, like the inspiration picture, right?
Yep.
And then I'll be like, all right, this is what you want. You've really thought this out, and this is what you want. And then sometimes the client will be like, well, I didn't really think it through that much. I just liked it. I wanted to get your opinion on it. I'm like, oh, you don't want my opinion. I said, let's break this down. That right there is already telling them I don't like this, but it's borderline arrogance. You got to be very, very careful about it. it's all subliminal messaging. Okay.
Right.
Or if I do like it, or if I can do it, I still don't say I like it either. I say, okay, this is what you want. So then you're going to be washing your hair 3-4 times a week because that's what you're already doing now anyways.
Right.
Well, I don't wash my hair 3 times a week. Like, well, then you got to ask a question. Well, how many times do you wash your hair? You know, and I'll say, oh, so you're already blow drying your hair every single day. So you're already spending 15-20 minutes blow drying your hair every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a statement, it's a question masked in a statement form, because I'm literally telling them what needs to be done in order to achieve this look. But since I'm not asking them if they're willing to do it or not, I'm already throwing it out there that I'm confirming this is what they're already doing. And it starts putting either the seed of doubt, or it starts reinforcing this is what they can handle. It's a little bit of a I don't know, like I guess an interrogation or like a psyops, operation. And I don't know why, but I really want somebody to own the style that they're having.
Right.
And I just feel like, or I just think too often, more than not, stylists don't ask the questions the right way. And they're just, whether because they're trying to be too nice, or because they're too nervous, or because they don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know why it is that way. But I don't think the expectations are set correctly or properly. Even if, especially when the color can be achieved, like when a stylist looks at it and be like, I could do that. Well, why? Why can you do it? And why is that going to look so good for that client? Why is it going to matter? That's why I do statements. I know you ask 1,000 questions, and I've watched you ask 1,000 questions, and that's a whole nother art in itself. Because to me, when I listen to you asking questions, you have this little story. It's like this little roller coaster that you take them through, because you'll ask them a couple of nice questions, and then you'll gut punch them with a question, and then you'll ask them another couple of nice questions. It's like patting them on the back, like, just breathe. It's okay. You're fine. Right. You're fine. And then you gut punch them again, and they're like throwing up. And then you're like, no, it's fine. It's fine. You make me nervous. Listening to you ask questions makes me nervous.
I create Stockholm syndrome, where they start identifying with their captor. But see, because we kind of do the same thing. We just do it differently. It's really getting them to realize and really acknowledge what they want you to do, and then coming back at them, telling them what can be done, and getting them to acknowledge that. And then I will ask 3 times before I even step away from them. Okay, so we're going to do, for the sake of argument, we're going to do a diagonal forward bob. We're taking 2 inches, and we're doing a partial foil to, blah, 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 blah. And these are the colors, and I will ask them 3 times to get confirmation from them that, yes, we're doing this. Because what is the worst feeling in the world? No. This is not what I want.
It's not going to look like this when you wash it out, is it? It's not going to be this color when you wash it out, is it?
Right. Right. And then my sarcasm will always come out like, no, it's gonna be mauve. It'll be nice.
I usually say it's gonna look way worse than this when it's washed out.
Right. Right. I mean, but once again, is managing. You've got to manage that client. The client doesn't get to manage you. And most people want decisions made for them. It's a very fine line, but they want to feel like they want to know that the person that is taking care of their personal service is in control and is going to steer them in the right path. And like you said, confidence, I mean, like you said, you border on arrogance sometimes, and I do almost the same thing, but confidence will take you very far. You have to be confident, but you've got to be confident in your skills too, you know? And like you mentioned at the beginning, it's really about building that relationship with the client. It's only 10% is about really what you can do with your hands or, or make that happen. Um, and it took me back to when I first started when I was a young stylist and I worked next to this guy. Couldn't cut a straight line if his life depended on it. Watching him cut, he used to say, "I'm a free form cutter."
Okay.
But he could style hair. And he had that old adage of, I can take a C haircut and make it an A style. And clients loved it, and they loved that, he built that trust with them. And they would, but once again, that was back in the day when, people were coming in for their weekly blow dry, every or twice a week. But he had a great clientele. He built a wonderful clientele. He had a waiting list, but could he cut a bob? Not to save his life. And he admitted, he readily admitted it, not to save his life, but because he could work magic with a blow dryer and round brushes. It's the same thing. It's building that trust. Those clients that will trust you.
No, absolutely, they will. And the reason how you build that trust and you build that retention, you reinforce every single time they come in, you reinforce where they just came from the last time you saw them and go further back. I was just doing this on Saturday. Client came in, she sits down and she goes, "What are we doing today with my hair? Do I need a haircut?" And what I do is I pick up her hair and I hold it up above her head so she can see me looking at her ends through the mirror.
Right.
And if she needs this much cut off, I'll hold this much of her hair out in between my fingers. And it'll be like this much of her hair sticking out. I'll be like, you really want to cut off this much, huh? She's like, no, I don't want to cut that much off. I need that. Do I need that much? I'm like, no, you don't need that much. I'm like, all right. Well, if we're all right, let's clean it up. Let's clean up and then I'll just pinch it off to how much she actually needs,
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, you only really need this much because you've been doing really good with your hair. You've been doing exceptionally good. Man, remember when you first came in? Holy cow, when we first started from, and I'll drop her hair down and I'll start pushing her hair around and I'll start lifting her hair back up and show her all the disconnections were. And I'll remind her of how crap it was and what a freaking nightmare it was and what that journey. I mean, this is all like within 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. That would be really long. But that recap is so quick because it's that, oh yeah, moment. That's all you're going for, is to remind them and nudge their memory for that, oh yeah, moment. This is why I've been with you for this long. And this is this is where we're at now.
Right.
And then I immediately go into, we're only cut off this much because we're still growing your hair because this is the style you're going to want to be at. Look, look at how much this has grown in. And now it just needs to get to here. This is where we're going for. We're trying to get to here so you could do the thing, whatever that style is that the client wanted.
Right.
So you are reinforcing the future, the whole reason why we're here, why we are maintaining the service right now. And the service that we're maintaining right now is, whether it's especially in hair color, I'm refreshing your new growth, or I'm touching up your new growth. I'm setting up your ends for next time because we're growing it out to this. I never say, oh, I'm just going to pull it through and refresh. I'm just, the words I'm just, or just the whole word just should be eliminated. You should try to see how far you can get in a conversation without using the word just.
Right.
Just a trim, just a retouch, just a refresh, just a quick, just a piece, just a whatever. Try to eliminate that out of your vocabulary and see how far you can get in a conversation when you're talking to a client.
Just a full head of foils.
It's just a full, yeah, it's just a full head of foils. Yeah, exactly. It will, it, again, this is my opinion. It is so dismissive of the work that you're doing.
Agreed.
It is so dismissive of the experience of why they're there with you. It does not reinforce anything. It does not build a future for anything. If it's just a this, then why with you? Why can't it just be a thing with somebody else that's closer to where they live, that charges less than what you charge? I don't know, that is in a nicer space than where you're in. Or maybe not as much of a nice space as you're in. Maybe the client is overwhelmed by how nice your place is. I've had clients say, this is really fancy. I've had other clients say, oh, this is where you work? Yeah, this is where I work. This is my space. This is how I like my space to look because I'm sitting in my space all day long. You're here for an hour or two and you're out. I'm the one that got to look around this place and stay inspired and keep my head straight and keep my energy level up. So yeah, I'm gonna decorate this damn place how I want it to look like so I can be content with the area that I work in, you know? So that's the difference. The language that you use matters. The statements that you make matters. The questions that you ask matters. But building the experience for the next time they're coming in and reinforcing where they came from, it is huge. It is huge. Okay. So now the consultation is done. You're in the middle of application. Whether you're cutting their hair, whether you're applying their hair color, whether you are styling, doing a treatment, whatever it is you're doing. What does that conversation look like? Or what does that application process look like?
Depending, because I tend to walk them through what I'm doing. You know, like I was doing highs and lows on a client yesterday. And as I was going through, she was making doing the small talk thing. And during the service, I add in, I'm putting more light around your face so you can have more, more of a sun, more of a pop, or I'm placing these low lights here so we get more depth because and that's really what I do. And then, or while I'm cutting their hair, I'm like, we're going to layer this up. I talk to them about what we're doing and why I'm doing it. Because I want them to know that I'm locked in. I'm locked into the service. It's not me just yeah. I don't really see. My thing is I don't share a lot of my personal life with my clients. My personal life is my personal life, and I learn some things when they share, and then yes, it's nice that they share, but it's not about me. It's about them, and it's about the service with them. And usually if I've been beaten correctly by my wife, I have to explain bruises. But I walk them through the service. I walk them through the service. See, you've got your wife running around the salon with a frying pan in her hand. So if you see you step out of line, she'll hit you with it.
People love Carmelina, man. That's why people come to see her, not to see me.
Of course, yeah, no. But you've got to. You and I go round and round about this because I always liken what we do to exactly what doctors do. And a doctor just doesn't scribble something on a prescription pad and hand you the prescription without telling you why you're taking this medicine, right?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he just hands it to you? Yeah, take this.
Hands it to me, says, go take this.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about your psychiatrist. I'm
He's
talking
learned
about a
his lesson.
doctor.
My doctor has learned his lesson. He has learned not to ask me questions. He does not want my answers anymore.
So anyway, yeah. So hopefully I answered your question, but yeah, you got to walk them through the service. I totally walk them through the service.
Do you ever cheerlead in the middle of a service, in the middle of an application? So what do I mean by that is I'll be highlighting somebody, and every couple of foils that I grab, I'll grab one in particular and be like, man, this highlight's freaking looking good, man. This blonde is really holding up really good. You know, you must be really shampooing your hair the way I told you, or you must be really styling your hair the way I told you.
Oh,
Or
okay. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I do.
maintaining your hair the way we agreed you should be maintaining your hair. Look at this piece. Look at this piece. Do you ever cheerlead in the middle of an
All the
application for your
time.
client?
I do it all the time. I do it
So
all
it's
the
just
time, and I do it.
reinforcing that they're winning, that they're doing something good.
I tell them all the time. The shampoo and conditioners, you are taking such good care of your hair. Look at how this color is holding up. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I'll even go so far as back in the shampoo bowl, because they're always trying to read your face. And so I'll be like, wow, you know what? This came out better than I thought it was gonna. Wow. And then they can't wait to get into the mirror. And they're like, yeah, water running down their face. Yeah. But and then as you blow dry it, and you start laying the pieces, and you start laying your blow dry sections, and they'll start they want to, but they know with me, you start messing in your hair, you're gonna get your hand slapped. Or I'll hand them the brush and go, here, you finish it.
So now here is the thing that you harp on the most is now the service is done. And it's time to check out, it's time to rebook, or is it?
It is. It totally is. It totally is. Here's the first thing we do as the service is finished is okay. And I always tell them, I'm going to need to see you again in X amount of time. Whatever it may be. X amount of time, because we've got to keep this looking as good as it is, or we've got to go to the next step to get you where you want your hair story to be. So let's get you booked right now. So I kind of give them a little caveat with that. So you get the time you want and you don't have to alter your schedule too much. And sure enough, boom, rebook. And also then I said, and then we start talking about I talked to them about products all the way through. And then what I will say is before they pay, I'll be like, should we get you that shampoo and conditioner or that style, the mousse, whatever. And then they go, yeah. My favorite one and is, especially with all nutrient, is this product works hand in hand with your color. It's going to keep your color fresh, and 8 times out of 10, oh yeah, let me get that,
Hmm.
And then, you're going to have people that are out there that are like, I'm a stylist, I'm not a salesperson. Wrong. There's a clip out there of you and I talking about this, so we don't need to get into it.
I don't know.
But and I stand behind my products. And especially with the all nutrient retail products, I stand behind them. If within a week you don't like this, bring it back. I stand behind it 100%. But then after that, then you get right into rebooking. I'm going to need to see you in X amount of time. Let's get that booked right now. And then if we didn't do a haircut with this service, we're going to do a haircut with the next service. Let me get a haircut booked with you. We got to keep this looking keep you looking good and fresh and blah, 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 blah. You know, whatever the story is that you're on. And you get them rebooked. And the best thing that I love about my booking software is that they get reminders.
Oh, that it's time to book an appointment?
They'll get reminders.
Like the
They'll get,
confirmation.
I can say,
up,
they'll get reminders about their appointment coming up. You know, they get, you know, and they can sign up whether they want. And the best part is I put it, they get the option of text or email, or they can do both. And most of my clients do both. So, you know, I do have a couple of clients that are not very tech savvy. And what and it might be a little excessive, but that's just how I run my business. I actually have a calendar, and I'll write their name in at the date right before the day before their next appointment. Call Susan, you know, or you know, with her last name. And when I'm done working today, I'll make 2 or 3 phone calls going, and I'll call them. And you know, 9 times out of 10, it goes right to voicemail. So I just leave them a voicemail. Hey, it's John. You know, I got you down at 10 o'clock tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you and us moving, you know, getting your hair, with it being the holiday season, holiday ready now, or, you know, whatever. And, you know, that's part of running your own business. That's part of running your business, whether you work for someone or you're an independent or whatever. You need to manage your clientele. I mean, the days of just being a rock star and coming in, doing hair, and then just blowing out the door are long over, because clients have a lot of options at their fingertips, and you want to create that need for them to, oh, that's my guy Eddie. Oh no, I'm never leaving Eddie. When Eddie retires, I'm going to his house. Okay. If Eddie passes away, his hands are going to be sticking out of his grave, so I can just rub his hands on my head. You know, whatever. And you create. That's how you create. You got to create that loyalty.
I got you.
Am I wrong?
I have no idea. I have no idea how to respond to you, sir. With the rebooking part of it, use the calendar to your advantage. I love what you're saying there with the calendar. There is always something coming up on the calendar. Every single month, there is something coming up.
Right.
And whether there is, and I don't care what the client says, if it's a national holiday, if it's an observed holiday, if it's a Hallmark holiday, who cares? Use it as a milestone, because that'll keep it top of mind and fresh in their minds, fresh in their head.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a personal event coming up, use that date. And also tell them before they leave, after they just said how much they love their color or their haircut or their style or their whatever they like, let them know that that's the last time they're going to have it. Because next time you see them, it's time to tweak. It's going to be time to adjust.
We got to move it along. We got to take it to the next level up.
And let them argue with you. No, I want that. I want to keep this. I want to keep this. You'd be like, well, we'll talk about it. Your homework is to maintain this perfectly until I see you next time. And then we'll review it and we'll see. So you're not committing yes. You're challenging them to get to the yes. You're not saying no. You're challenging them to get you to not say no.
Right.
You're giving them something to look forward to. You're giving them a purpose. And I'll tell you, man, especially in life right now, there is not enough purpose. There's a lot of arguing. There's a lot of spinning, back and forth, tick for tat and all that. Not a lot of people are bored out of their damn minds, and they are up in everybody else's crap, worrying about what everybody else is doing and what everything else is happening, because they got not enough things going on for themselves to keep themselves occupied and busy. is why reality TV show is at an all-time high. It's why it's why politics is at an all-time high. It's why, the news just steady blasting all day long. Negativity is at an all-time high. Everybody is just zeroed in on such the wrong things. It's insane.
Right.
And I'm not saying anything specific. I'm just saying, if you are you're bored, you have no other hobby, you got nothing else going on. If your hobby is to see what everybody else is doing, that's dangerous for yourself. Forget about everybody else around you. Just for yourself, you need something to do. So give your clients a purpose. It's why sometimes clients come in and they are just driving you as the stylist. They drive you nuts about their hair because they got nothing else going on. If a client says to you, my hair is my best feature, dear God, woman, you poor thing. Like, why? Why is your hair your best feature? You are a woman. Everything else about you is amazing. Like, the entire package is amazing. Why is just this one part of you that's the thing? No, absolutely not. That's a hard no.
See, I always tell them your hair is your best fashion accessory. Your hair augments everything else that you've got. And, so putting all of this together is, and I may be completely off on everything that we've talked about today. Basically, it's about building a relationship with your client, and each and every client. No, it's not. It's not. What is it then?
Is it building a relationship with the client, or is it building the client's relationship with the biz? I don't know. Is it one and the same? Is it really building the business, or is it building the relationship with the client?
I think they go hand in hand. I agree with you. Yes.
Is it building the relationship with the client with themselves, or is it building it with you?
It's with us. It's with them. You want to create the need. They need you. You are, like you said, you are their GPS. I know a lot of people that drive nowhere without their GPS. They have their map thing up in their car all the time. You are their go-to source for their hair, and creating that relationship that you are their go-to. Yes, so it is. It is. It's building it's building the relationship, and it's also with building that relationship, you're building your business. And yeah, so love to hear some comments, some of the tips and tricks that you guys do to keep your clients interested in your chair. And kidnapping family members you can't do that. But as always, guys, we greatly appreciate all of you that send in messages to us, and really we love the support. And if you really want to support more and more silliness from us, go to htbbeauty.com. We got a lot of things going on there. Our class lists are coming up for 26. As always, guys, we invite you to make a difference one client at a time. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, everybody.
The SFTB podcast was not recorded in front of a live studio audience, so thanks for joining us for today's episode. If our hair topics made you smile, give us a thumbs up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll read them while waiting for our caller to process. Share this video with your stylists and friends. It helps us make a difference, one strand at a time. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Because your hair deserves all the latest and greatest tips.